Hi, good evening, everyone. So let's start the discussion where we left. We covered this slide, project management benefits, and we reached this slide, which is about PMI described project organization as follows: projectized, associated with delivering projects, functional, focuses on operations with little emphasis on projects, and then metrics, weak, balanced, and strong. So I will just showcase, explain this with an example. So if you see, there are okay. If you see, there are two, three kind of organizations. So first is projectized. Then you have functionals, functional organization. And then you have matrix organization. I hope it is visible to you. Change the color. So projectized organizations are those wherein project manager have highest power. Functional organizations are the one where functional managers have high authority and power. And then comes matrix, which is a mixture of projectized plus functional. Now, let me explain. So in functional organization, what you have, in functional organizations, they are traditional. Like, for example, IBM old format, if it is still operational. Bell Laboratories, they used to have this thing. This is for US. Then you used to have this organizations in India like MTNL, BSNL, organizations like MDH, Indian Railways as well, to some extent. They follow functional approach. Functional managers, for example, I belong to an HR department. So project manager will report to the HR manager. For each and approval, the project manager will report to functional managers. A lot of dependency for PM towards functional. Functional manager have more authority. PM has less authority. Projects in such organizations, projects suffers. You will see project managers struggling for getting the job done because functional managers have high authority, high power. Not very apt not very good scenario for project managers. So if you get a chance to work in functional organizations, ensure that you have your things in place. Not a good scenario for project manager if they are working in functional organizations. You will find for you will find PM begging for everything from functional manager in an scenario wherein the organization is purely functional. Then comes projectized. The project manager has full authority. Even this owner, even the MD, CEO, if they have to ask or take any decisions regarding the project, they will ask PM. PM has highest power in projectized organizations. Highest power, highest authority. Examples: ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. Also, the expertise, this kind of organization can only be run if there is highly specialized job. If the PM is doing highly specialized job. Why? Because even the MD, CEO, owner, director does not have the complete picture of this project. Or they do not have the skills to understand. So they are dependent on PM. Also, the project is so risky, risk is so high that if you do not consult PM, project may fail. So in this kind of organizations, PM has highest authority. Another example is NASA, USA. Project manager has highest authority, highest power. Now, if I create this, okay, let me erase that. If I create this bell diagram, so these outliers, one outlier is projectized organizations, and another outlier is functional organization. Normally, majority of the organizations you will see they are running in matrix way. Why? Because majority of the organizations will happen to or will prefer to run this way because neither the projects are so complex, or neither they want functional managers to have this kind of authority that they derail the projects, which in turn will derail the organization. Now, to start with, okay, blue and black. So this one. So matrix is of three types: weak, strong, and balanced. Balanced, PM is equal to FM. PM, project manager and functional manager, they both share same kind of authority. Strong matrix is more like PM. PM have more power and authority than FM. And weak matrix is PM have less power than FM. So if you say weak matrix is more towards functional, not exactly functional, but towards functional way of project. This strong is towards projectized, and here it is balanced. Example. So understanding examples are very important because that only will help you understand the concepts well and will help you remember the concepts. So another example is I would give you for PM, for functional, as I said, MTNL, BSNL, Bell Laboratories, Kodak, which is no more. Well, Kodak also got obsolete because of the lack of inventions. Then you have projectized, which is more like ISRO and ASA. Then you have this one, which is like matrix, theater, Tata Communications. What else? Maybe HPE. They are either they are strong metrics or at least balance. But in my experience, so this is all about understanding. No organization say that we are functional. No organization say that we are projectized. In fact, the organization which almost every organization says that they are projectized, but when you start working with them and when you start understanding their processes and the way of doing the things, then you realize that they are absolute functional. So no one claims that they are balanced matrix, strong matrix, or functional or projectized, but it is more like understanding for you as a project manager. It is Airtel, Tata Communications, and HP are more like strong metrics, wherein they are not exactly projectized, but very close to, or they have a lot of processes which are on a projectized way. So here, if say you are a project manager at an entry level, you can easily write to the general manager, VP of fiber team if your work is not happening, because whole organization is project oriented, because projects whole organization is project oriented because projects drive change. Organization is project oriented. Why? Because projects drive change. They take the organization from current level to future level. So normally what happens at sales close the deal, it comes to projects team to deliver. Project teams then give it to operations to run, and plus you have billing monthly, and that's when the revenue gets generated. So if this is not done correctly, deliver project is not delivered correctly, billing will not start. So hence it is extremely important to understand this aspect. So if you see matrix, normally we follow the balanced or weak or strong, and one team member in this matrix approach, you have one team member working on a project with me or with you for projects, plus simultaneously reporting to a functional manager for leaves. For other admin things. Now, when at the time of feedback and appraisal, the functional at the time of feedback, this functional manager PM will give feedback to FM as well. So feedback will happen like this, in this way. This is more like a, and once the project is done, once the project is done, once the project is done, this team member will be released from project and will come back to FM, and then FM will find him new project. That's how it is going to be in functional or functional projectized and matrix organization. Let's go ahead with the next slide. If you see, this is functional organization. You have a sponsor, then you have functional managers and their staff. In matrix organization, you have functional managers, staff, and then project managers and staff. In projectized organization, project manager has the highest authority and everyone is reporting to project managers. So these two are exceptions, extreme ends. Normally, mainly all the organizations are following the matrix approach: weak, balanced, and strong. This is the difference between pure project organizations, more effective for large-scale projects, where type of project is repeated. Team working is important. Success here may lead to longevity in teams, may lack technical depth, managing external communication with non-team members, functional resources problems, and some evidence of drag towards the end of long projects. While in functional project organizations, embedded in functional group where projects will be used, problem of cross-organizational cooperation, because functional managers have uh, boundaries set up for each departments. Baton passing between different functional areas, R&D to produce, etc. Lines of communication, problems of problem sponsorship. So this is basically the artifacts of a pure project or a pure functional organization. Metrics, this we discussed, an attempt to capture both the good parts of both the organization, functional and projectized, and making a tutti frutti out of it, so that you get the most benefits of the both projectized and functional organization. Here comes the impact of organizational structure. Projectized, project characteristics. In functional, little or none. In projectized, project manager has highest authority. Weak matrix has low, balanced, strong matrix is toward projectized, so have moderate to high, and balance matrix they have minimum. So the resource availability here, functional organization has less, projectized has high. Who manages a project budget? Functional manager. Here project manager, because project manager is top. Here functional manager is at the top. Project manager's role is in projectized project it is full-time. In functional managers it is part-time. And similarly, project management administrative staff, here it is full-time, and in functional it is part-time. And weak matrix, all the characteristics would be like functional, and in strong matrix all the characteristics would be more like projectized. Let's move ahead with the next slide. Organizational culture. Organizational culture. Organization structures may be based on functional areas, divisions. Organization culture may be enabling, disabling, and then you have culture in this sense has to do custom and practice, internal politics and relationships, power positions, extremely important, and then formality, rule-based versus task-based. Let's here understand that. It is given by Handy, culture of organizations. There are 4 types of cultural organizations. One is Apollo, which is more like bureaucracy. Then you have Zeus, which is extremely entrepreneurial. Then you have Athena, which is more towards innovation. And then you have Dionysus, which is more like collaborative. And these are cultures, organizational culture. Let's hear them one by one. Characteristics of manager in organization in Apollo, it is more like strong principles, follow rulebook. Zeus is, if you recall, Zeus is an entrepreneur. So Zeus is more like risk taker because they have to reinvent or come up with new inventions or new kind of entrepreneurial journey or zest. So they are risk taker, they are innovator, they are extremely good diplomats or politically aware, enthusiastic, and networker. Athena is purely innovation based, so they are free thinker, always thinks out of the box, more like observer. They are good managers. They have empathy, diplomacy, good relationships. Dionysus is more like collaborative approach. They are philosophers. They think a lot, ideas person, expert, and they does not like rules. So how will the culture of organization affect the following? Apollo, because it is rule-based and formal type of project, take on attitude to risk, attitude to teamwork, and attention to detail. Zeus are more like entrepreneurial, autocratic leaders. Similarly, you have Athena, which is innovative, problem solver type of project take on, attitude to risk, attitude to teamwork, attention to detail. And Dionysus are more like collaborative, resource sharing. So if you, I'll repeat that again, Apollo, they are rule based and very formal. So whole approach to their project is very formal. Zeus are entrepreneurial and autocratic leaders. Their approach to these artifacts are will behave or they will behave much in the way of an entrepreneurial and autocratic leader. Athena are more towards innovative and problem solver, and similarly Dionysus are more towards collaborative and resource sharing. Then comes project governance. Within organizations, projects can sit within programs, allowing commonalities between projects to be shared. Example, a music tour, the successful completion of each gig may be seen as a project, but the overall tour program, these programs may sit within overall portfolios which relate to organizational strategy. Example, the record companies, portfolio of stars, etc. So I think I have explained this. Normally, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. A group of related projects falls under program, and portfolio is the outcome of vision and mission statement of the organization. And out of that portfolio, out of that vision mission statement comes strategy. Strategy gives portfolios, and portfolios further gives programs and projects. Project governance. Many public and private sector organizations are now developing project management offices to assist in project management processes. PMOs typically provide documentation, checks and controls, mentoring, staff resources, and support for project managers, develop project management manuals for use across organizations. So PMOs are usually, they help you do the governancing and administration things. Most projects will implement a project board, a steering group, within context of research projects to assist, advise, provide quality assurance for projects. The project team. Okay. So normally it is given by Tuckman's ladder of team formation. Tuckman said that a team always goes through certain phases. One is forming, storming, norming, performing. After performing also they can go back to storming. And the last is adjourning, when you release the teams to work on different projects because the project is closed. Now stages of team formation is like that. In forming, team acquaints and establishes ground rules. Formalities are preserved and members are treated as strangers. It is the first phase. The storming is members start to communicate their feelings but still view themselves as individuals rather than part of the team. They resist control by group leaders and show hostility. Norming is when they realize that they care, they are complementary to each other. People feel part of the team and realize that they can achieve work if they accept other viewpoints. And performing is the ideal scenario for a team to be in, because that's when results are getting delivered. Adjourning, when team achieves the targets and they celebrate because the target has been achieved, and now they will be released to their respective managers, functional managers, to find a new project. So normally, if you understand this, the team follows these phases, this life cycle: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Forming stage. At this stage, the team are unsure of goals and directions, anxious and unsure of their roles, staff concerns over security, isolation, recognition, and rewards, etc. The role of a project manager. The role of a project manager is to clearly explain the aim and goals, identify team purpose, allocate tasks and responsibilities, anticipate anxiety and frustration, and allow team to resolve all issues. So this is the forming stage wherein major everyone is coming from their parent teams to work under this project. Team is getting formed. Main role here is of project manager, so that they help the team members to understand each other, to grow that sense of security, to appreciate each one of their contributions, because after that, you know team is very much possible that they go to norming or storming stage, or they can easily pass on and go back and reach the performing stage. So hence the role of project manager is to clearly explain the aims and goals, identify team purpose, and allocate tasks and responsibilities. Extremely important, because if there is any ambiguity between task and responsibilities, it will create a lot of confusion and chaos. Storming stage. At this stage, there is high emotion and conflict. Individuals lobby for position, forming alliances. Within team, you will feel within the team you will find many teams, because you get along with someone, you don't get along with someone and stuff, and generating conflict between groups. There are challenging objectives and leaders authority, testing limits and confronting differences. The role of a project manager is to encourage discussion of concerns and difficult issues, maintain focus on common objectives, be constructive, concentrate on issues and not people. This is the storming stage. Then comes norming stage, wherein at this stage the initial integration commences. Team is beginning to work cohesively. They accept each other. There is some kind of uh, you know emotion of togetherness. They understand and gets comfortable with each other's behavior. They know that the person is not wrong, but he or she behaves in a certain way, because you understand them by the time. There can be a tendency to work less hard in the team than they would individually. This is also known as Ringelmann effect. The role of a project manager is to set clear tasks and targets for people, create positive norms of performance and behavior, allow team to make and share decisions, reinforce harmony with group activity. This is what is recommended. This is how team performs in a norming stage. And then comes performing stage. This is a stage where the team is totally integrated. The team is working flexibly and independently, capable of dealing with complex tasks and handling internal disagreements, with individuals developing roles in the team and organizing themselves effectively. So this is the stage wherein your team should reach as soon as possible performing, because that's when you get the results. Your role as a project manager is to delegate, keep the team on track, support people in their task, review progress with the team, coaching rather than policing, and avoid excessive control and interference. And last comes the warning stage, which is adjourning. This is the close down stage. Work has been done, result has been achieved, and the work of the team have ended. The team is being disbanded. Members will grieve and suffer. Few people will have withdrawal symptoms because they became so comfortable and they are they are in love with the team members. Project manager should mark the completion of the project with some celebration, share the credit for the success, go out for some party and stuff, and appreciate everyone for their work done. This is the project life cycle phases. You have conceptualization phase, phase one. Phase two is planning. Phase three is execution. Phase four is termination. And these are the key team activities. Advising, you will have team members with certain traits. They are advising, innovative, promoting, developing, organizing, producing, inspecting, and maintaining. There are certain project team issues to consider when forming a team. What are the missions? What are the goals? How will you recognize the progress of these goals achieved? Reward and recognition, and if they need support, who will be able to help them? So when you are, forming your team, always take care of these statements or questions. Why are they here? Which is the mission? What will they be doing? So if you see, this is vision, this is mission, and how will they recognize progress? This is the tracking, monitoring and controlling and tracking. And once they achieve, what they will get, which is reward and recognition. And if they need support, who will give them support? Team performance issues usually come through lack of clarity about team objective, goals and target dates, team structure, who is reporting to whom, who is having the who is a subject matter expert or not, sharing of knowledge and information, balancing of various functional roles, breakdown of overall work, which is work breakdown structure. Individual targets is extremely important, commitment and motivation. Poor team management happens because of inadequate leadership and poor communication. Let's go ahead. How do you get team working? A, understand the different contributions to the team processes, recognizing when particular contributions are being made, making distinctive contributions yourself, obtaining the required contributions from others, allowing distinctive contributions by others, integrating different contributions, and reconciling the tensions if they have between team members. When does team working matter? When tasks are large, when activity is physically distributed, when activity is protracted over time, when tasks and goals are complex, when a variety of people are involved. So these are the times when team working matters a lot. The Bellman model, team working, you will find your team members, they are having certain traits. Few of them are like plants, shaper, few of them are team workers, implementers, resource investigators, specialists like subject matter experts, coordinator, completer or finisher, and monitor or evaluator. The characteristics of a plant, one is A creative, imaginative individual who will solve problems with new ideas and contribute original thought. Weaknesses, they ignore details and can be a poor communicator. Resource investigator is a kind of guy who has information about everyone who is working in the team. Why? Because he is an enthusiastic communicator, a skilled negotiator, and he's energetic and optimistic. He has good networks. However, weakness is that uh, he's not focused towards the work. Over optimism and can lead to a loss of interest. Coordinator is the guy who is confident and a controlled communicator who makes a good chairperson, clarifies goals, and keeps the team on track. Manipulative and exertive excessive control can be the weakness. But a coordinator trait is good for the project. Then you have shapers. They produces lots of actions and demonstrates energy and enthusiasm for tasks, shapes the team ideas into practical emotions or actions. However, weakness is that they can be insensitive and provocative. Monitor and evaluator are the guys they are extremely analytical in their approach. Their objective you can save the team from rash decisions, but because they are extremely analytical, they are quite they are like they have suspicions in every decision, and they fail to inspire others and may lack drive and energy to see the task through to completion because they are constantly skeptical about the completion of the projects because they are constantly doing the analysis. Then you have team workers, a cooperative and discerning individual who likes people. They listen, build, and support others. Weakness is indecisive when critical decisions need to be made, but it is also good for projects. So, though every trait is good, but specifically coordinator and team worker. Then you have implementers, an organized individual who takes basic ideas and makes them work, tends to be reliable, sensible, and disciplined, react slowly to new ideas, and gives the impression of inflexibility. Similarly, you have completer. They see the task through to the end, can be relied upon to achieve a task to a high standard and on time. Weakness is reluctant to delegate, and their worrying can be an annoyance to colleagues. And last, you have specialists. They are subject matter experts. A subject expert with in-depth knowledge of specialism, driven by dedication to subject area and professional standards. Weaknesses focuses too much upon their own specialist subject, prioritizing this over the progress of the team because they are the subject matter experts. So these are the traits you will see in your team members, and you can a team member can be a plant can have plant traits as well as a shaper. A team member could be a good team worker as well as a specialist. So you need to see as a project manager when to utilize the resource on which task, and these are the characteristics that individuals have, and there are the characteristics wherein specific skill dominance is required in a team role, so you can fit in the right people at the right team roles. Let's move ahead with this one. The plant, spontaneously creative, idea generator, imaginative and original, independent and non-conformist, often serious-minded, tends to overlook or discount details, can be poor at judging quality or practicality of own ideas, can have difficulty communicating effectively because their thinking is intuitive, introverted, or unorthodox. Shaper is more like likes to lead, achievement oriented, dynamic driver, impatient, and result focused, pushes to overcome obstacles, inertia, complacency, often extroverted, etc. Then you have team worker, the best case scenario for any project manager, then that they should have more of the team worker traits, supportive and cooperative, attention and perspective, tactful and diplomatic, sympathetic and considerate, but can be indecisive, and they try to avoid conflicts, which is, every trait has certain positive and certain negative. Can be over trusting and easily influenced as well. Implementer, practical, common sense type, disciplined and hardworking, dutiful, reliable, methodical, methodical and efficient, leave it to me kind of things. You can rely on them because they really do the things, finish the things. But they can be rigid and inflexible. Then you have resource investigator. They have information about a whole lot of things. They have information about their own team members, but they have also information about team members across organization. Good communicator, enthusiastic, networking, connectors, extroverted, shows curiosity, explores opportunities, but they can be over optimistic, can lose interest, be poor at follow through and finishing because they invest a lot of their energy in networking and stuff. So this is resource investigator traits. Then you have monitor and evaluator. He's like a critical judge, extremely critical, analytical, sober, but unemotional because they, by nature, they are highly, they have a habit of scrutinizing everything. They are too detached. They focus on problems and why things don't work. Can seem negative. They are often perceived as negative team members or overcritical. Mostly they can find complaints and they can find negativity in each and every good thing as well. But they can be utilized well for analytical and critical purposes. Then you have completer, finisher, painstaking and conscientious, orderly and organized, checks for errors and omissions, strong on follow through, mindful and deadlines, perfectionist, a very good team member for you to have. Then you have coordinator. They are also good team members. If they are groomed well, they can become a completer or finisher or a team player. It provides a consultative form of leadership, mature, calm, and confident, acts as chairperson or facilitator, manages the process, can be seen as manipulative, may not provide enough direction for inexperienced subordinates. These are the shortcomings for a coordinator kind of traits. Then you have specialists, they are subject matter experts, single-handedly focus on one thing. They are extremely good at their subject. However, the problem with them is that they tend to drive everything towards their own subject. They are too fixed in their boundaries that they find it difficult to move out of their comfort zone. Similarly, we have Balbin team issues as well. Balbin's original team role model focused on team types rather than team dynamics. The absence of a type can be a problem. Too many of a type can also be a problem. You need to consider the interactions between types. These are often difficult rather than smooth. You need also to consider the effects of hierarchy and power on how different types interact in practice. Factors which affect team success are trust, antecedent factors, contextual factors, relational factors, complexity of project structure, inter-organizational projects, virtual teams, membership of team clashes, and personality clashes, etc. We all would agree that working in team is an extremely important trait and extremely important criteria for projects to succeed. Do team members need to get on with one another at a personal and professional level? What factors may influence how well team members collaborate and cooperate? What barriers may you face in building an effective team? And then we have facilitators, communicators, and building structure and culture to suit the task. So, as a project manager, your job is to at times work as a facilitator, mainly as a communicator, because 80 to 90% percent of your time would goes into communication, and then building structure and culture in the organization, in the project team, to suit the task so that your objectives can be met. This is extremely important. Leadership, we agree that leadership can be described in this ways: defining purpose and setting direction. As a job for you as a project manager is to give direction. What do you call it? North star, right direction for your team. Normally teams are so involved in day-to-day activities that they end up going into a direction which is not suitable for the team to have in a long run. They may be completing tasks, but you may come across the team is not healthy. There is not healthy dynamics within the team. Or you may also come across that sometimes team tasks are not done. Maybe they are lacking behind in their schedule, but team dynamics is healthy. In this case, team will definitely improve. They will meet all their tasks in the future if they settle on their technical difficulties. However, in the first case wherein they are completing tasks everything on time, but team dynamic is not another healthy one, team will uh, collapse in future. So as a project manager, your job is to maintain team culture and team structure, and for that you need leadership, a good leadership approach, which comes through defining purposes and setting directions, organizing complex tasks, making difficult choices, engaging and developing people, embracing uncertainty and containing others' anxiety, interpreting ambiguity and taking risks, and steering the present and building the future. As a project manager, you should have leadership skills. And if you answer these questions comfortably, and if you get answer to these questions for your team, you can set the direction of your team in a positive context. Then comes quarters comparison of management and leadership, creating agenda, transactional leaders, management, transformational leaders, leadership. Creating agenda, which includes planning and budgeting, develop plan a detailed map of how to achieve results, allocation of resources, establish directions, vision of the future, develop strategies of change to achieve goals, developing HR, organizing and staffing, which individual best fits each job and what part of the plan fits each individual, develops policies, procedures, and monitoring. Aligning people communicates vision and strategy, influences creation of teams which accept validity of goals. In execution, you have controlling and problem solving, monitoring results, and identifying deviations. In transformational leadership, you do motivating and inspiring, satisfying basic human need for achievement, and belonging, recognition, self esteem, a sense of control. In transactional leadership, outcomes produces a degree of productivity and consistency. Produces, while in the transformational leadership, produces changes often to a dramatic degree. So normally, as a project manager, you would be a mix of transactional leadership and transformational, but you see which one fits in for the project, and you can have 50, 40 30 to 40% of work as transactional and rest 60 as transformational. And it purely depends, and you may keep shifting from this leadership approach to this and vice versa. Then comes the situational leadership model. If you see this block, which is in red, it starts with directing, then coaching, then supporting, and the S4 is delegating. Directive behavior is high, extremely high in directing, low in coaching, a little less, even less in supporting, and in delegation, the directive behavior is very less, while supportive behavior is on y-axis, wherein supportive behavior is less in delegations, high in supporting and coaching way of leadership approach. So the best, normally you start with directing because you are giving directions, highly directive and low supportive behavior. In coaching, you give directions, but you also provide support. In supporting leadership model, you have low directions but high supportive behavior. And then comes the delegation, which is less directive and less supportive, and you let team member to grow. If you see, the commitments are also varying. When you have low competence, D1, high commitment is required. In D2, low to some competence and low commitment. In D3, which is for related with S3, moderate to high competence and variable commitment. And D4, which is delegation, you have high competence and high commitment. So commitments are extremely high in the directing one and in the delegating one. In these two cases, the commitment is a kind of variable and low. Here, because you are new in S1, you are new, you do not know the things, so your competency level is extremely low. Then with due course of time, your competency level are increasing in coaching and supporting, and in delegating, you have high competence. This is a situational leadership model. Let's directing is more about telling you to do A, B, C task. Leadership style is directing, providing explicit instructions and close frequent supervision, limited, largely one-way communication, appropriate when the follower does not know how, high on task direction, low on social or emotional support. Then comes coaching, which is more like selling, explains decisions and encourages discussion, invests in feedback, encourages two-way communication, high on task direction and personal attention, builds the followers' learning, understanding, confidence, and readiness, but time consuming for the coaching manager. Then comes supporting, when the follower is ready to take more initiative because they have gone through two stages of directing and coaching. Then comes supporting and delegating. So directing its coaching is done, so you have fair understanding of the work. Leaders make self available as required, acts as a sounding board, facilitates others' actions, offers advice or reassurance, provides help if needed. And after that comes the leadership side of delegating. Now you are high on competence and you require no or less support. So now you do not need a leader as much as you were requiring in the other three phases. So makes relatively low demand on the leader. Follower is now ready to take prime responsibility for both decision making and implementation. Leader should still play a part on objective setting, reviewing performance and giving feedback. Abdicating these responsibilities is not delegation. And just a second, let me fix this. I think something is missing. So, inappropriate leadership styles. What happens if the leader's approach does not correspond with the follower's need? Directing feels like dictating, coaching feels like patronizing, supporting feels like smoothing, and delegating feels like abdicating. So, if the leadership approach has not been refined correctly, directing leadership style may feel like dictations. Coaching kind of leadership style may feel like patronizing. Supporting leadership style may feel like smothering, and delegating type of leadership may feels like abdicating. So this is the sort of red alerts or bottlenecks that the leadership style has to be refined correctly. Then comes leadership and management style depends on project definition, organizational culture, leader's position and experience in the organization, leader's personal background, his education, training, and personality, examples set by leaders, manager, team members, motivation, expectations, etc. And the last is interpersonal skills that underpin leadership is communication skills, and communication comes with certain package which is listening, feedback, recognition, reward, encouragement, emotional intelligence, and empathy. So this brings us to the closure of part two of project team and their behaviors. I hope it was helpful. I would come back with the next chapters on this. Thank you and have a nice day.